Hi y'all, this is Quarterly Coach, Dr. Cheryl Luther, and I'm here to talk about the quarterly method and clear up any confusion that there's been. So I've been teaching the quarterly method for some time now, but I'm not the most fantastic marketer, as you can see from some of these videos, but I am real and the results are awesome, and that's what I'm really good at. So I asked a couple of coaches to help me. I paid a couple of coaches to help me market this as to be able to get it out to more people, to be able to support more people and have people have awesome results. And I kept getting pigeonholed into these three, most coaches will say that there are three types of businesses, and so you have your health, you have your wealth, and you have your relationships. So because I work with individuals and with couples, I kept getting put in this relationship bucket, and all the marketing dollars were going into the relationships. And I haven't been able to grab a lot of attraction and attention around what the root is of what I serve, of who I serve. Who I serve are individuals and couples. What I do, and I'm going to explain it to you here, I'll go and quite a bit of detail, but the quarterly method, it basically is an operating system. It's a personal operating system. So let me get into this. So what is a personal operating system? Personal operating system. So a personal operating system is a lot like an EOS or an entrepreneurial operating system or a business operating system. So what that actually is it's a system of understanding your beliefs, your core values. How does that translate into your policies and your procedures and the people around you, the data that you collect, and then how do you make good decisions so that you can move forward in the direction that you want to go? And then how do you reevaluate all of that so you can make further good decisions? So that's what a POS is, personal operating system. And although I mentioned couples in the beginning, although you can do this individually, you can also do it with couples. And what I mean by that is it's really awesome to have an accountability partner or a teammate while you're having these discussions. Sometimes when you get out of your head and you say it out loud, things come out a little bit different. You have an aha moment, or you get somebody else's perspective. So this works really well for marriages. This works really well for two people in a business working together. It works really well for a mother and a child who struggle to communicate, but they need to get a certain thing done. So this is really awesome for being able to figure out, what do you want? How are you going to get there? And then actually do it. So that's basically what a POS is, a personal operating system. And to be completely transparent, I am not a therapist. I am a strategist. And so when I was put into the bucket of relationships, it was awkward. It was hard for me to talk about because I don't want to step on a therapist's toes because like I said, I am not a registered therapist. I'm good at other things. I'm a doctor in a different realm. So that's where we're at. And at the end of the day, I'm really here to help people find freedom, impact, and build a legacy. So, okay, so what is a personal operating system? It's really, we talk about data, we talk about the people, we talk about the purpose, we talk about the culture, we talk about the process, and we talk about all the issues. And many times the issues and the wants drive the conversation. So we cover all of those things in a personal operating system. And we do it in a very systematic manner. So you can bring your own individual issues and your own individual piece to your what am I looking for? I'm looking for like your personality, situation that you're in. Maybe you're an accountant, maybe you're a gym rat, maybe you're I don't know, you fill in the blank. You can be anything and have any belief, and the system still works because it's a system. You plug the information into the system. So we'll get into this a little bit more. So it's really an opportunity to be able to take all the ups and all the downs of life and input it in here and make really good decisions. And we all have a personal operating system. We all have a POS. Some may be dysfunctional, some may be pretty functional, some may need a little help, some may be perfect. What I see most of the time is that most of us don't recognize that we have a personal operating system. So I've seen some, for example, like some people come to me and they're just like flying by the seat of their pants. They're totally winging it. They have no plan whatsoever. They just know they have the confidence that whatever happens, they're going to be able to figure it out. I've already seen people that, we had one couple, it was pure chaos. Pure chaos. They were surprised about everything. Everything meant that they had to scramble. Everything was last minute. Everything was an emergency. That was their POS. That's how they handle things. I've run into a couple of people who they're really fearful to make the right or wrong move. They're so paralyzed by the fear that they won't make a decision. So they just kind of deer in the headlights. They just kind of don't do anything. That's a POS. There's the complete opposite. Like they're so anxious. They're such a high achiever. They have to have everything perfect. It's the overachiever type where everything is planned out from A to Z and there's no room for fluctuation. That's a POS. There's also the procrastinator. There's the go with the flow kind of type. There's can't make a decision. There's lots of different types of personal operating systems. What I'm showing you here today with this type of personal operating system, it's a very healthy personal operating system, and it really brings sanity and clarity and a lot of traction to your goals and in your life. So it's a way of showing up in the world. It's a way of dreaming really, really big and actually accomplishing your goals. It's about being able to build incredible relationships through positive interactions and communication, kind of that give and take in the relationships. It's a really great opportunity to be able to figure out what's working and what's not working, because you're collecting some data, you're having some conversation, you're saying, okay, what's working, what's not working, what are our issues, how can we be better, how can we pivot, what do we need to change? How many people reevaluate that? That's important. So it gives you a lot of working space to make the right decisions. And ultimately, it allows you to show up as your authentic self. It allows you to be confident in the direction that you're going. And it's not just a goal setting. It's not a rigid system. What it is, it's freedom to grow and be the best human that you can possibly be. So that's why I like the quarterly method, and that's what I've been trying to teach. So let's dive into a little bit how it actually works. So let me get a fresh board here. So when we start with the quarterly method, we start at the very beginning with core values. So we want to know what's deep in your soul, what do you truly believe to be true, how does that affect you on a day-to-day basis? Is health and wellness your number one core value? Is maybe comedy is your number one core value? You think everything needs to be funny and light. Maybe just respect, like across the board, is your number one core value. Communication can be a core value. So what is it that really drives your day-to-day interaction and life force? So we start there. So that gives us a lot of direction of what's going to be important going down the line. And then we look at 12 different categories. So we call this the North Star Vision. So the North Star Vision covers 12 different categories, and they range. It covers, if you can figure out something beyond these 12 categories that I don't mention that touches your life, please let me know, because I feel like this is a pretty good, solid list. So we talk about health and fitness, hobbies. That's in one category. We have intellectual growth. We have emotional growth, Those are 2 more categories. We have spiritual growth. We have character growth. We just talked about core values, so that falls into that. Love and sex, that's a category. Parenting, social life, those are categories. We have the financial and security. That's a big one. That's really important for most people. Career, your quality of life. So we put all the stuffs in there. We put on all the material things like the cars and the houses and big gold diamond rings and earrings and all sorts of things. So the quality of life that goes in that bucket. And then the last bucket is freedom, impact, and legacy. And so those are the 12 categories. And we figure out what's going really well in these categories and what's not going so well in those categories. So we talk about your strengths and your weaknesses in those categories. So what's going well, what's not going well. So strengths and weaknesses. And then we also talk about your opportunities and threats. So for business people, this is your SWOT analysis. But it's for your personal life in those 12 categories. So you go through and you look at your health and fitness. Well, maybe you're 20 pounds overweight and you really want, you know that you want to lose it. You know you need to be in the gym. You need to eat a little bit better. Like, this is something that's really important to you. It's an opportunity. That would be an opportunity. So we go into opportunities and threats. So we think about, okay, in this category, what could I be doing? Or maybe there's a job offer on the table. That's an opportunity. Or maybe you have a sick animal, and that could be a threat to that first category that I talked about, like hobbies or even parenting. So sometimes we put the pets in the parenting section. So you're looking at your SWOT analysis. So strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And we dig in and we map it all out. We write all the notes down. Excuse me. And then once we've written it all down, we look at the big picture and we say, okay, what do we actually want to accomplish? What are our goals in any or all of those categories? And we don't try to, we don't, at this point, we don't try to say, okay, this is more important than this one's important. What we try to say is, these are all the goals that I'd like to see happen, and the next step will take care of the priority. So we write down all of our goals, all the nice to haves, all the must haves, anything that you have like big dreams about 10 years down the road, 5 years down the road, next week, it's okay. Don't worry about the timing. All the big goals that you think, oh my gosh, this would be amazing. It goes down. We write it down. So we write them all out, big and small. And then we get into, this is where the confusion is with the relationships. Then we talk about it. If you have a partner, if you have a business partner, you talk about it. If you're alone, totally fine. I started this process alone, and you can absolutely do it. I journaled a lot. I would sometimes record myself on a video and then wait a little while, and a couple days later watch it, and then I would reflect back on what I said to myself. So there are opportunities to still have that conversation, but you can totally do it on your own. So this is individual as well. So you really think about what do you need to address in those categories in the goals section. So we'll say face reality, because this is where it's kind of like sometimes you have a little come to Jesus moment, like, holy cow, this is glaring, this is a big thing. And other times it's more like, I just need to stop doing that. Like, I'm biting on my nails. I just need to stop doing that. It's kind of, there's little and big things that go through this and this goals. So face reality. And so we have those conversations. So this is the thinking time. This is where we're processing. And then we go into, okay, this is the part where we need to decide, okay, is this stuff really, really important? It has to happen now? Is it kind of big and we just need to take a little chunk? And we just determine if it's going to be a big goal. So we'll say annual goal. For now, it could be 3 or 5 year goal. Verse, I'm not sure if you've heard the term rocks. Verse, parking lot. So we have big goals, we have rocks, and we have a parking lot. So this is where you're gonna kind of whittle them down. Is it a big, massive daydream kind of goal, like way out there? It needs some time to develop. There's some action that has to happen. Or is it something that can happen in the next couple of months? And it's a smaller project, it's doable, you can take some action right now. Or is it something that, you know what, it's important, but it's not as important as the other stuff that needs to happen right now. It can wait. And I call it the parking lot. It's like if you go to the store, you don't drive your car right into the store, you leave your car in the parking lot. So you leave your idea in the parking lot, and we record it. You can brainstorm around it, but you don't take any action on it right now. When you'll see at in a minute here, we're going to get to the cycle, and you can revisit that and see if it's maybe bumped up in priority, or maybe sometimes the parking lot list falls off, like it just becomes not important anymore. So if it's not important right now, it goes in the parking lot. So we talk about the annual goals, the rocks, and the parking lots. And then we figure out, okay, so how do we determine if we're successful along here? So remember, we're going to wait on that parking lot. We're only going to focus on these guys. These guys are going to get broken down into rocks. Rocks are 90-day sprints. They're short sprints. It's 3 months, 90 days. It's a small project, and you're just going to hit it hard. And you only get a couple of these per quarter. So I say max 3. You can make your own determination, but I recommend no more than 3 big rocks, because you're only one person and time and attention gets siphoned in other places. So just make sure that you are whittling down the 3 most important things for your rocks. And that is what we're going to focus on for the 90 days. So that gets pushed over to a rock. And then we determine our metrics. So how do we know if we're successful? That's what a metric is. That's what data is. That to collect data just to collect data, that's no fun. You want to collect data that's going to give you an answer at the end. And the answer that you want is, did we do well or did we not do well? Do we need to change something? Are we good where we are? Are we moving the bus down the road? That's what the metrics are for. So we need to determine what metrics we're going to record for our rocks to be able to say at the end of 90 days, were we successful or not? And then from there, now that we have our rocks, we have our metrics, we're going to fill out a 1-page operating picture. So our 1-page operating picture has all of this stuff on it. You put your core values, you put all the stuff that we've just talked about, all the major stuff goes on one sheet of paper. So you can look at it and you can refer back to it on a daily basis if you want to, multiple times a day if you want. Or if you want to pull it out once a week to kind of review, or once a month. It's totally up to you, but it's all in one place. So you know exactly what you need to do to take action. And like I said, action, that is the next step. So now that you know what you need to do, you're able to pull it down into small chunks. You're able to have that daily interaction with your rock or your goal, and you're able to make progress. And you can do that by, some things are small. You need to make a phone call. So you just block a little bit of time to do that. Some things are kind of big, and you might need to break it down into chunks where you need 2 or 3 hours a day to really focus on it. Launching a project can take up a lot of time, so you need to book that in your calendar and make sure that you're actually taking that action. But you know, because you're 1-page operating picture, that you're not going to get distracted and do other things. This is your rock. This is the thing that you've agreed to do. This is the thing that you're going to finish. So once you're doing the daily actions and you're making progress, we will eventually come to that 90-day mark. So this is where you review. You look at the metrics. You look at your daily actions. Did you do enough? Is it what you thought was going to happen? Do you need to pivot somewhere? Has it become more important? Has it become less important? You really get an opportunity to reevaluate, what does that rock or that goal look like? And if you've made it, celebrate, because that's pretty awesome. You've moved a bus down the road, and that's cool. You know, sometimes we don't get there. Sometimes we bite off way too much. We think we can get more done than we actually do. And that's okay too. And so you reevaluate. Maybe part of the project is complete and you only have to focus on 25% of the project going forward. Cool. This is where you reevaluate. Is it still that important? Is it still a rock? Is it still something that you're going to focus on for the next 90 days? Next 90 days. So I just talked about 90 days. So let me go through here. So let me run through the cadence again. So you have an annual meeting or review, whatever you'd like to call it. So it's usually, I'll call it a review, plus your quarter one. So this is usually a little bit longer than the other meetings or reviews. There's just a lot of material to get through. Everything that we just covered, you're going to cover. You're going to review it, make sure that you're on the right track, make sure that your annual goals are where you want it to be, start at the core values, do they still stand? The first time you go through this entire process, it takes a little bit of time because you have to really think about it. The second, third, fourth time, you're like, yeah, that's still good, that's still good, that's still good, that's still valid, yep, and you move forward. So it's just kind of a check-in. So you do your check-in, make sure that you're on track, and then you decide what you're going to focus on for your next 90 days. So your quarter one. So quarter one's January through March. It's 3 months. So you have 90 days here. So you have your annual, right? 365 plus your 90 days. And then you have quarter two, quarter three, and quarter four, right? So, and these are 90 days each. So when you get to end of quarter four, which is December, you come right back up to your annual. So it's this constant system. You're never out of it. You never let yourself rest. You build in your goals throughout the year, and you have constant check-ins. And that is the quarterly method. And I really hope that makes a lot of sense. It's a fantastic method to be able to steer your marriage, to steer your life, steer raising children, your health, your wellness, and really, like I said, it's all about legacy and freedom and impact. And if you can do those things, it feels really good, and that momentum just keeps you going. So, like I said before, that wealth, health, and relationships, I don't really fit into that. What I do fit into is the front side. So we just talked about, you have these 3 buckets that most people fall into. Well, this system is the precursor to all of that. We're in front of that. We're the thing that says health or wealth or relationships are the most important thing. So quarterly method comes, this is, like I said, it's a personal operating system. This is the core. This is the beginning. And if you can tackle this and you can accomplish this, you can accomplish so much. It's so cool to see it in action. It works with businesses, it works with couples, it works with individuals. When you start getting that traction, it's so cool. It's so fun. So if you want to learn more, there are opportunities, of course. I have a website. You can go to quarterlymethod.com. And there's also on YouTube. It's the same. It's just at Quarterly Method. And then also on LinkedIn, if you want to look up my name, it's Dr. Cheryl A. Luther. So I'll write it up here too. So LinkedIn, Cheryl with a C. LinkedIn actually has doctor on it. So there's like little hyphens in between there. So If you want to look up on LinkedIn, that's where you'll find me. That's where you'll find some more information. This is our website, and then this is at YouTube. So I hope that's been helpful. If you have any questions, go ahead and message me, send me an email. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to be able to explain more, or if you have any questions about the actual process, happy to help. So until then, cheers, take care.